Hey loves, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today guys, I'll be checking out this interesting video from Thomas Sowell, and it's titled "The Elites Promote Riots and Divisions on Campuses Across America." You guys, I'm super excited for this. If you're yet to subscribe to this channel, please consider subscribing. Give this video a massive thumbs up, comment, share, and all that good stuff. And without much ado, let's see what Thomas Sowell has for us in this video.
What is creating the prejudice, other than the elites that you talk about that have their own? What is it among people that creates the differences that they don't get along?
Well, the differences have always been there, but they got along before. I mean, blacks and whites were different at Harvard when I was there, but you didn't find all the black students huddled together at lunchtime at the end of some table, the way you do on many campuses today. All the black students I knew had white roommates, and I would say that the ones that I knew were all popular, other than me. But that's not the situation today.
So what's causing it?
The fact that you do have those little elites who have their agenda. It's the fact that the black students are forced to come out and do the demonstrations and the whatnot. The fact that you have students there who are tremendously alienated because they suddenly find themselves in this situation where academically it's all they can do to keep their noses above the water, if they can do that. And then there's someone there to tell them that this is all due to the white power structure. And then there are the white students who are sick of hearing that. And they say, if you can't hack it, that's your problem. Don't give us this junk. And then that's called insensitivity. It's self-reinforcing. You know, there are some reactions that are self-equilibrating, but there's some that keep feeding each other. Let's say an ugly racial incident happens on campus at one of the elite colleges. Invariably, the first thing that will be said is we must have now a larger quota of minority students, a larger quota of minority faculty, and we must now subject the white students to these sensitivity courses or ethnic courses or what have you, courses that they've rejected taking, otherwise they wouldn't be necessary to force them. That is not going to make things better, that's going to make them worse. Yeah. But as they get worse, then you keep doing that, and so it's just an upward spiral, and I just don't know where that spiral is going to end. I don't see anybody with the courage to end it, and I see it leading only to bad things.
What would you do if you were an administrator at a college or a university?
Well, you see, you're bringing me in now 20 years after they've gone into this mess. 20 years ago, I said, don't do it. 20 years ago, I said, if you do it, this will be the consequence. And I wasn't the only one. And people simply did not want to hear it. And so I am very unsympathetic to the administrators. I said, you made this mess, you get out of it.
Yeah.
Now, fortunately for me, nobody wants to hear what I have to say about it now. And so there's not another live issue for me. Some gentleman wrote me from Princeton. I think he's associated with the university in some way. That would I come to Princeton and confer with this or that person? And I said, no. No one has ever asked me in all these years to come to a university and do this. I don't think there's the slightest interest at Princeton or anywhere else in what I have to say about these matters, because the ideologues feel they have the word, the truth, and the light, and they don't want me confusing the issue. And the others are afraid of the ideologues. And so there's no point in my making an unnecessary trip across the country just to chit-chat with people at Princeton.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, it may not be any of our business, but normally someone who's spent as long as you have at a university deals with a thing called tenure. You don't teach, you're a senior fellow. Do you have tenure?
No, we do not have tenure. In fact, I use that very often. People tell me that you need to have tenure in order to have academic freedom. I said, well, nobody has tenure at Hoover. That's why we're so cautious in what we say.
So you're actually associated with Hoover, not with Stanford?
Well, but Hoover, but my paycheck is from Stanford University because it's in some peculiar legal relationship. But no, I think tenure does not produce people who speak their mind.
You guys, whatever problem Thomas Sowell is speaking of in this video in the early 90s is nothing compared to what is happening in today's universities all across American universities of today, because the elite have successfully divided the blacks and the whites, and they are now far too gone for anything to be done about it. Let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section down below, and Let's continue watching, you guys.
That timid people are disproportionately attracted to jobs that have ironclad tenure. And so as in the civil service, that's not where you get your bold new ideas out of the career civil servants. Because if you attract timid people, you're going to have conformity no matter how much freedom they have.
Given what you've said to us about universities not caring what you have to say, let's say, for instance, that all of a sudden you wanted to go to work at another university as a professor in this country. Would you be accepted? Not because of your race, but because of your views. Would you have a hard time getting a job in the major universities just based on your views?
I don't know. I've never seriously thought about it. I do get feelers from various places at various times, and I was, oh my goodness, back in '72. I was offered 72. I was offered a visiting professorship at Harvard, and then around I guess really the same year, also a visiting professorship at Stanford, and I turned both of those down. So I guess it's, unless I'm so much better known now than I was in 1972, that they would never dream of making the same offer.
Back to the book, you say in the beginning of the book that this is just the beginning of, this book is just the start of a longer study.
No, there's a longer study in progress, and this book is a spin-off from it. The longer study is a study called Race and Culture, A Worldview, and it's about 1,200 pages in manuscript at this time.
Did you write it?
Yes. And I in fact put that aside to do this because the policy implications of this seem to me to merit moving this ahead in the schedule.
What are you going to do with a full study?
Hopefully publish it if I find someone who wants to publish it.
And then what do you hope will happen as a result of all this work?
I hope that people will start to re-examine some of the dogmas about race that have been unthinkingly repeated for a very long time by people who compliment themselves for being thinking people. The very notion that you would expect groups to be evenly represented is staggering when you realize the tremendous difference in backgrounds from which all groups come. When you realize that cultures tend to endure over a period of time beyond a single generation. And so there's no reason to think that groups who come from Germany and Ireland to the United States are going to be all the same in a generation or two, because they're not. And still less people who come from more distant cultures, from Asia, from Africa, from other parts of the world. That's nonsense. Correspondingly, the notion that the individual or the group is a function of the immediate surroundings is nonsense. I'll give you an example. The Japanese in the United States during World War II, as you know, were interned. They were treated very badly prior to that time. In Brazil, the Japanese were treated much better, and very few of them were interned. In the United States, the Japanese remained steadfastly loyal despite the bad treatment. In Brazil, the Japanese were loyal to Japan right on through to past the end of the war, despite the good treatment. You cannot explain this by what happened in the United States or in Brazil. You can only explain it if you understand that those two groups of Japanese were different before they ever got on the boat in Japan, and that difference persisted in the countries they went to. There are other groups like that where you see differences. The Scots, for example, that most Scots in the United States have been prosperous, and yet the biggest pocket of white poverty in the United States have been the Scots and the Appalachians. And the question is, was that because of the environment or immediately in the Appalachians, or how they were treated, or anything of that sort? Well, you can't explain it that way. But if you trace the history of these groups, you realize those groups were very different before they ever left Scotland, or in the other case, Ireland.
Wow, you guys, that was such an interesting one. And one thing about Thomas Sowell is that he has always said the truth right from the very beginning, and nobody is willing to listen to him. And I'm glad that everything he has said so far, that he has won these universities against, played out right before their eyes, and the only thing they can do right now is regret, because it's not the sort that one can go back on. Let me know what you guys think about this video. I really enjoyed every minute of this video, and I believe you guys also enjoyed watching. If you did enjoy watching, give this video a massive thumbs up, comment, share, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you all in my next video. Bye guys.